Well, for Cuba, Cuba took away a lesson that they couldn't trust either superpower. And because they felt that the United States still intended to overthrow them. And in fact, we still do have a program that supposedly, nominally, is aimed at overthrowing the Cuban government, the Helms-Burton Law. So that is the official policy of the United States. And they didn't trust the Soviets any longer because they felt betrayed by the Soviets. And so their takeaway was, you can't trust the superpowers. You have to go out on your own. What they did is they started making revolution in other countries as a way of gaining allies in the third world. That in some ways is still their position and is still a reason we consider them to be an enemy. It turns out they're pretty successful now because countries in Latin America still see Cuba as a country that stood up for its own sovereignty and was willing to die in the face of United States threats. I think the lesson, if we're going to deal with Cuba, is the lesson we have to take away in dealing with Iran. Little countries feel vulnerable in the face of big countries. They sometimes exaggerate the vulnerability. And the only way for a country to really exercise empathy is if it's going to trust that the other side genuinely wants some peace. And that means that the big country has to take the first step. We have to do that in the case of Cuba. We actually have to do that in the case of Iran.